I do not own any of the rights to this film. This video is made for criticism and entertainment only. I will be making no money, absolutely no money off this video.
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? Knock, knock.
Hey, welcome to Phelps Films. I'm Logan Phelps, and today starts our very first official Phelps Films movie review. Today we're going to be talking about the 2000 Robert Zemeckis film, Castaway, starring Tom Hanks and Helen Hunt. So let's get straight into it. The movie starts off with a good 23-minute chunk of Chuck Nolan's life. Chuck Nolan? Who am I thinking of? Wait, who's the guy that directed The Dark Knight? Oh, Christopher Nolan. Never mind. Alright, so back to what I was saying. The movie starts off with a good 23-minute chunk of telling the main protagonist's life story. You know, he's a FedEx worker who is very passionate about what he does. He always makes sure that everything gets where it needs to be on time and where it has to be on time. His soon-to-be wife, played by Holly Hunt, Helen Hunt, is very supporting, and she understands, and towards the end of the 23-minute chunk, they're giving each other like Christmas gifts and stuff like that, and Helen Hunt's character, I don't know her name, gives Chuck Nolan's character a watch, a watch with her in it, like a picture of her in it, and he's like, oh, okay, thank you, and then runs off, comes back, and he's like, open this when you want to, doing that whole like, will you marry me without saying will you marry me bit, right? So he hops on the plane, and everything's good, he's sleeping, then there's a little bit of turbulence. Then the pilots go, you need to get back to your seat, we might have some rough flying here. He's like, alright, and then he goes to the bathroom, washes off his face, and there's even more turbulence. So he rushes back to his seat, everything goes crazy, tries to put on his seatbelt, which he finds like incredibly fast. Then he's like, oh no, the watch, and then he runs over to the watch, basically risking his own life for a gift that his soon-to-be wife gave to him, which is understandable, but I mean, like, come on. It's your life, man. Then he rushes back to his seat, and then the plane just basically goes down, right? And then the whole thing is flooding up, which is a pretty cool, like, I think it's a pretty cool crash scene. And earlier in the film, you can see, like, awards, how he's, like, a master boatsman or whatever it is. And so they basically just sneak that in there to be like, he knows what he's doing, don't worry about it. So he's able to grab the little yellow boat thing, I don't know what it's called. He's out in the water, and not really cool, it's just unnecessary, of him almost getting stuck into like the engine. I mean, I guess, but no. So he goes out into the sea, gets on the raft, I guess, I don't know what it's called, the yellow raft, and basically drifts upon the sea. There's huge waves crashing, and then like a little bit later he dozes off. Like, who dozes off? My adrenaline would be pumping, I would not be able to go to sleep, I would be terrified. Luckily, he arrives upon shore of this huge, beautiful island. He's drawing in the sand, help, but like way too close to the shore, so it's like the water's coming up and racing it, so it's basically just worthless. I don't know what he was thinking. But then later, the next day, he falls asleep, then the next day happens, and he finds packages, then he hears something falling or hitting something, and he's like, who is that? But then finds out it's coconuts. And there's like a 2-3 minute scene of him trying to open coconuts, which is pretty funny. And he has to find like new ways or new methods to open up the coconuts, and once he actually finally opens it up, there's like none left. Then he goes to explore the island a little bit and finds this cave, which is pretty reluctant to his current, situation. Because he's alone on an island. And he's castawayed. Get it? Cast, like the movie title? Okay. But then he finds the most famous package of all time in the movie. The one with the wings on it. And he's always faithful to the package. He never opens it. He never messes with it. He's always like, if I ever get off this island, let me make sure that this package is gonna get to the right people. But then he goes and like opens every other package. And then a bit later on in the film, he finds his dead friend, which is when he goes to through his wallet and all this stuff to see if he has any like valuables. But then he throws them into a big dirt pit and covers them up. And yeah, then a little later on, he gets his boat and he works up enough courage to try to go out there and beat the currents and go past that wave line so he can try to make it off the island and get back to humanity, but then fails and cuts himself. Then he takes shelter in the cave that he explored, and he's just using the flashlight he found and clicking it on and off and looking at his girlfriend's picture, which is super dumb because if you're ever gonna need a flashlight for anything, the one thing you do not need to use it for is to look at your girlfriend's picture. Yeah. And then he drinks nasty poop water, and I'm not sure how he's still surviving off of what he has, but it's a miracle, and you know, he's a legend for drinking that nasty poop water to survive. Then the next morning, he goes through the packages and finds like these letters and notes, and then he finds a Wilson tennis ball. Or nope, what's it called? Volleyball. Sorry about that. He finds the amazing Wilson volleyball, and imagine if that ball was a different brand and not Wilson. Like if it was, I don't know, Rawlings. That would be so crazy if he's like out in the middle of the sea and he's like, yo, Dick's Sporting Goods. No. You know? Yeah. Anyway, then he tries to experiment with other food and tries to catch a fish, or I think it's a crab, but then he's obviously not a pro at this, so he gets nothing but raw, slimy meat. It's disgusting, and yeah. Then he tries to experiment and make some fire, but then he fails over and over, so it's just a scene of him making no fire again and again. But then he gets it one time after he explodes and gets his bloody hand on Wilson and chucks him across, and he's like, I'm sorry, and then puts him on a wood thing to prop him up and be like, you're cool, man. Then there's a nice scene of him where he's finally able to make the fire, and he's just like galloping around. He's like, I did that, bro. I really did that. I'm actually out here like that. Like, get me anywhere, anytime. I'm actually making fire. Like, hire me. I'm the professional fire maker. Natural. Yeah. It's a really nice scene. And as he's cooking his food and eating it, he's talking to Wilson and talking about like their worries and their struggles. And he's just like, you're a cool dude, bro. Like, not gonna lie, you're a cool dude. And then throughout the movie, he's always talking about how one of his back teeth hurt and ache, but he never just wants to go to the dentist. So, as a result of him just denying all help and stuff, he grabs a shoe and basically shoves it in the back of his mouth and just knocks it, and it hurts so bad it like knocks him out. And it's pretty nasty, and it like really makes you cringe, and yeah. Then it cuts to 4 years later, and now he's Tarzan, catching fish like a pro. And so now he's thinking to himself, what if I try to make a legit ship that is, you know, compatible with the water and won't collapse in like 30 seconds? He goes around the island and tries to find like materials and stuff. And so he's grabbing all his supplies and stuff, and he needs rope. He needs a lot of rope so he can hold everything together. And he's talking to Wilson, and he's like, I need more rope. And then Wilson in his mind is saying, you know what rope is? And he's like, I don't want to go there. And it cuts to him going there. And that whole scene is basically insinuating he was contemplating suicide, which is, you know, understandable for you being there for roughly 4 years with nobody there except for a ball talking to you. And then the day comes where he's taken off. He built his little ship, which looks like it could stand water, and as he's leaving, he writes a little note on a rock, and he's like, blah 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 blah, if you see this, I'm Chuck Nolan, I'm going to get my girlfriend. So if anyone does wash up on the island and sees this message, they're literally left with nothing. He could say, here's how to build a fire, here's how to cook the food, here's how to do this, this, and this, here's how to this, that, and third, you know. But no, he's just like, I love my girlfriend, goodbye. Come on, man. There's other people that might wash up on the island. Be considerate, Tom. Be considerate. So now the only obstacle in his way is basically getting past the big waves, which is like basically 150 feet out from the actual shore. So he has to just get over that without his boat collapsing and him cutting himself again. So he goes. Oh, he makes it. Oh, he makes it. Oh, he made it. He's good. And now we're just easy sailing. And let's get it. Everything's lit. Chuck is sleeping. And Wilson is basically on the edge of the boat. And he tips over and just goes. Chuck wakes up. He's like, where's Wilson? He sees him out. He tries to go get him. He knows if he goes out there to get Wilson, then his boat is going to leave him behind, basically be stranded there. And so he has to make a really tough decision, which is a pretty easy one to me. He has to either choose risking his own life to get Wilson and then perhaps making it back to the boat, or go to the boat where he has a way, way, way better chance of surviving. He obviously picks the boat, and it's a very sad scene of him crying over his only comfort object. I don't know. But it's a very sad scene, and it's over a volleyball. And so now he's on his ship or boat, whatever, his little raft, and he's sailing. And he goes back to sleep, and he ends up in a cargo lane where ships go in. And he's so lucky that he hasn't like just flopped over and gotten eaten by a whale or something. I don't know. But he ends up in the ship parking space. I don't know, cargo lane. I think that's what it's called. And he's found by some people. And then like 4 weeks later, he's all like dressed up nice and he looks good, and then he goes to his work, his FedEx place or whatever it was, wherever he worked, and a bunch of people are celebrating, and then Helen Hunt's character is obviously dating someone. She literally has kids with him. I think they're married, and instead of her going there and being like, hey, what's up, or it's been a long time, she sends her husband out there to go meet him. It's pretty messed up to me. You're literally coming back with all this traumatic stress with you, and your only reason to be there, or like the only reason you're looking forward to, is being with your soon-to-be wife, and then she's already taken. It's pretty messed up to me. So he pulls up to Helen Hunt's character's house, and the taxi driver, completely rude, is like, "You need to hurry up, I got places to be." So he goes up to Helen Hunt's house. I don't know her name. So goes up to her house. Which is convenient timing because her kids are asleep, husband's gone, and so they have time to chat and like talk over what's been happening. But it's kind of messed up because she's married, she has kids, and this guy who's been gone for about 4 or 5 years is now just showing up out of nowhere and just kind of like taking her. It's kind of messed up. It's like, come on, you got a wife, man, be better. And he gets his car back, and he, fulfills the one destiny he was going to, hopefully fulfill when he was on that island, taking that one package, returning it to the rightful owner. So he drives off, and the song that was playing was pretty similar to what was happening. It was going,
return to send up, address unknown.
but so he returns the package, and everything is good, and so yeah. Tom Hanks playing Chuck Nolan in Castaway. Excellent performance. I think it's an awesome movie. The good, I like the drama. I like the, I like how there's like literally no talk, like not a lot of talking in this film, but you can feel all the emotion coming at you. I like that. The only bad parts that I thought were, that just didn't really make any like difference, didn't really need to happen, is probably him going to the house and her running out to his car, being like, I still love you. Like, it makes sense, it's just unnecessary. But yeah, other than that, the whole movie was great, and I'd give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, thank you for watching Phelps Films. I'm Logan Phelps, and see you next time for another movie review. Peace out.